Is XRP going to have a bull rally lasting a few weeks, breaking 50 cents? Well, the probability states yes, based on the technicals where the fundamentals are baked in. Now, remember, the trend is your friend. We want to ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. And today we're going to dive into XRP to see exactly why. What we're looking at right now is a daily chart of XRP. And I know there's a lot going on in the chart right now. But the key thing you want to take into account is that markets tend to move in fives and threes. And the trend can give us a massive clue on what's really likely to happen next if we can identify it. And it's one of the reasons I've created the trend dashboard. Is for XRP. You can use it for any asset. With the bigger degree is the weekly trend. It says it's a bull uptrend. The smaller trend is a strong bull uptrend. And what should we consider doing? And the way I've coded this is it tells us we should consider buying. So what does this look like to us? Well, we've had this nice move to the upside. What looks like to then be an ABC correction. Remember, markets moving fives and threes. After a three-wave correction, what typically occurs is a continuation of the former trend. So we're looking for this type of movement to the upside over the coming days and weeks, where we can break this high, which is above the 50-cent level, and that's what we're talking about. Now, this bullish reversal that's just occurred on the daily time frame, which is why we've got this, which marries up with the bigger trend. So we want to consider the bias is to the upside, but we want to have logic. We want to have a thesis thinking on, okay, what does this look like? Can we break it down? And what is a nice entry point and how we can manage our risk as well. So we're going to now dive into a 60-minute chart to really break this down. But just so you know, this trend identifier dashboard is brand new. It's my 15 years of trading experience codified on how to identify the trend and ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. You can now trial it for £1. This is then £9.97 per week. You get a lot of training with it. I've just given you everything on how to use it step by step. It's absolutely phenomenal. Check it out. £1. You can't go wrong. All right, so what we're going to do here now is we're going to go into a 60-minute chart, all right, a 1 hour chart, right? I'll keep that in the bottom right-hand corner. And by the way, you can have access to this chart as well. You can download it for free. You can view it. You can upload it and everything else. So by the way, I've already done this analysis. So I've got a long order for XRP already. And this is the analysis that we've already done this morning. And this is the trade analysis. So I'm just going to update you on how we got to this point so you can have this chart as well for yourself. So you always want to have a thesis on what the market psychology is looking like. And often there can be a few different wave counts, but the trend, if you have that as a confluence, as in it adds additional information, is currently up, is bullish. So we're favoring upward movement so we can see what does this look like. So let me just summarize what I was doing earlier this morning. And again, I'll make sure I save this so you have access to it. We had this initial move up. I'm calling that a wave 10A. Why 10A? Well, ones and A's, they look the same. And we don't need to know which one it is. And at this stage, we don't know which one it is, but we can make money on both, right? That's the key thing to know. Then we had this three-wave correction, very impulsive. It looks like an ABC flat. I'm calling that a wave 2 or B. Now, after a wave 2 or B, you tend to get a wave 3 or a wave C, right? And they can look similar as well at the beginning stages. So this looks like the initial move up, and we're calling it a wave 1 of the wave 3 or C. We look like we've got this nice ABC correction of a wave 2 or 3 of C, or 2 of. And then, again, keeping in mind, again, this is relatively advanced. If you're brand new to Elliott Wave, I've got some free training that you can take as well. But this is waves within the waves. Think of it as in you're in the ocean, there's a massive wave coming over, a big tide, a big wave. And then within that macro wave, there's an intermediate wave. Within that intermediate wave, there's minor waves. And within those minor waves, there's micro waves and so on and so forth. So we're going to look at 3 degrees of psychology, right? Really immediate term, intermediate term, and then a bit more on the macro side of things. And that's what we're doing over here. And I've changed the color. So we've got blue, we've got red, and then we've got green, right? And we've got green. What is this? Well, this over here looks like a nice impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that looks like a wave 1. Of a wave 3, of a wave 3 or C, right? This is going to be powerful because if this unfolds, we don't know if it is or not, But if it does unfold as anticipated, it can be quite impulsive. We then got this A, B, C correction, which looks like a wave 2 of a wave 3 of a wave 3 or C, right? So hopefully you're sticking with me here. Why I'm showing you this is a wave 3 of wave 3 tends to be incredibly powerful. And a wave 3 of wave 3 of wave 3 tends to be incredibly explosive, right? More often than not. So if the price breaks above here, we'll probably get some type of follow through. If it breaks above here, that's when the market will get more confidence. And if it breaks above here, that's when it goes from uncertain back and forth to, geez, this thing's moving. And then people tend to pile on and you tend to get this, it's kind of like panic buying. But that's like an impulsive wave 3 of 3 of 3. And it can be very, very impulsive if it takes off. So that's what we're looking at over here. So I was actually working on this morning just to see if I can simplify it for you. But the main thing to know is on the trend dashboard, it tells us the weekly trend is bullish. That's our macro wave. The immediate daily time frame is strong bull, which is an uptrend. So now two waves are pointing in the same direction. So which way should you be looking to bet on the market? Well, logically, it's going to be in the direction of the trend. You don't want to surf against the wave because it's just going to take you out, right? But if you can turn and go in the direction of the wave, then all of a sudden you can make a lot of money. And that's what we mean by the trend is your friend. Ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. We've identified it based on the momentum position. The pattern position supports this as well. So what we're going to finish on today is two things. One is, I just want to show you this. I'm going to show it to you like this. I've created this also. So with the trend dashboard that you see down here, we've also added these signals that makes it easier to see. And what we mean by that is when it says consider buying, you got this buy and the plus. The plus actually defines the strong. When it's a strong, I got an extra filter on there and I'll give you detailed training on how to leverage this information. So we're looking at this going, okay, we want to consider a long position. Now, it doesn't mean you have to buy down here. It might be a bit high risk. Even just putting an order in on a swing high and a stop loss on a swing low. And the last thing I want to finish on is Fibonacci price. So let's just bring these drawings back on to the chart. And what I want to just really focus for a second is the green, right? Let's just get really zoned in for a second on the green. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Let's just get it so it's pretty much all in line. If this is an ABC correction on the green, like the wave count, more often than not, a correction would hit a certain price ratio. And the most common is the 78.6. So if I take this low, I'm going to make sure I get this low, and I take all the way to this high, and we look at the 78.6%, that tends to be a typical maximum correction. Now, it doesn't mean it means it's going to hold, but it makes it more highly probable. We've got a Fibonacci retracement, we got an A, B, C correction, and we've got double time frame momentum, as bigger degree trend, which is the weekly, and the daily pointing up. So that tells me if, and the word is still if this high is exceeded, well, let's just put it as a green, then this low down here is likely to hold. Not guaranteed to hold, hence you have risk management. You have to, that's why you risk 2% or 3% based on that. So then we have a nice entry strategy to say, okay, if the price goes above here, I want to be long, I want to buy. But if it comes back down and goes below here, I want to be out. That's how you place your stop loss. So that's what we're looking at over here. And now let's just look at what is the potential of this trade, because I set some targets. The typical minimum target that I would like to see, even if we keep it really simple, actually, let's keep it really, really simple, is basically this movement happening again. It's called 100% alternate price projection and an external retracement. So we're just going to do these two Fibonacci ratios to project what the expectations are if this unfolds. Sorry, the minimum expectations. So this is where we want to make sure we're locking in some profits and making sure that we're risk-free. So even if the trade goes against us, we ideally want to still make some profit. All right, so I would see this as the minimum expectation, right? Minimum expectation zone. Again, we're talking about, what is this? This is 40 cents to around 43 cents, right? That's what we're talking about. But now let's just zoom out for a second and look at, I refer to that as unit one, right? So every time I'm placing a trade, I always use 2 units. One is the minimum expectation if the trend doesn't take off and unfold as anticipated, was the minimum expectation. And then unit two is the positive expectation. If it unfolds perfectly, what would that look like? And I want to be in that market because that's where you're going to make most of your money. So we're going to now just zoom out and let's just keep it, again, incredibly simple. Let's just focus on the red now, on the red part. Let's get rid of this for a second. Right, I'm going to focus on the red. And what I want to do with the red is go, right, this is a wave one. Looks like a wave one of, ideally, I want it to be a one of three, right? But a one of three Aussie. And then what we're going to do in a similar way, if I can get this arrow, is I want to project this forward from here, but I want to add 1.618, right? And this will make perfect sense to you because this is the most typical buying behavior of a wave three, right? So we're going to measure this low to this high to this low. But this time the ratios that I want, okay, we'll keep it relatively conservative, but it's 1.618, right? And if it overextends, then we can, evaluate that. But this is what we're talking about. XRP potentially reaching towards 50 cents and above 50 cents, as we said at the beginning, and it may overextend because if it ends up being a 5-wave structure, it will end up being something like this. In other words, it'll be, we got this initial move up, a wave one, a wave two, some type of wave three, wave four, and wave five, and then breaking the 50-cent level up here for some really, really good profits. And there you have it. XRP, that's the technical reason why it's likely to explode to the upside. But again, want to have proper risk management, making sure that we are protected from the downside. Let me just clean this chart up. So I'm going to save this. So if you want to download this chart, you can now do that in the description link below, and you have all of this, just because I know sometimes it's difficult to do by yourself when you're first starting out. And if you want to test out the trend dashboard, the trend identifier, you can add up to 20 assets. You get the buy sell signals. I've got some serious training on this as well, so you can really use this for any asset, any crypto, any commodity, Forex, stocks. It works the same, double time for momentum. It's just simplified, so you can really check it out and just improve your trade strategies, because what you want to do all the time is the trend. If you can simply always and only trade in the direction of the trend, you're going to have a higher win rate and a higher profit rate. But at the same time, you want to have a mechanical, objective way of identifying the trend. And one of the easiest ways is double time frame momentum. 2 time frames, bigger degree, smaller degree, when they're pointing in the same direction. Whereas weekly and daily, or you can use daily and hourly, you can kind of, depending on your strategy, that can make a big difference. So let's finish on a quote of the day. Let's finish on this. We're going to go with chapter 1 today from my book. It's from Michael Jordan. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. I see trading as the same thing. We got our setup with XRP. It's like Michael Jordan with the ball in his hand. We're going to take the shot, place our order on a swing high, stop loss on a swing low, risk 2%. If we get triggered into the trade, right, we're taking the shot. Does it go in? Is it a slam dunk? Or is it a brick and it hits the rim and we miss? Right, we just go again and we go again, because we are the casino. We have the edge in our favor. And if we can do that consistently, well, over time, the profits will stack up. And know that 10, 20, 30% of your trades are going to make 80, 90% of your profits. So you want to be very, very consistent. And we don't know which one. That's the thing. We don't know which one, is why we need to be incredibly consistent. When the setup's there, we take it. When it's not there, we don't take it. And then we manage our risk time and time again. All right, XRP, what do you think? Is it going to explode to the upside? Well, we'll keep a close eye and we'll see how it unfolds.